All right. Okay, I think we are alive. What is up, good people? What is going on? Give it a minute for folks to pop on in, and then we'll kick off. All right. What's up, everyone? Let me know if you can hear me, just to make sure, because sometimes it happens. Okay. What's up, sir? I replied back to you. I want to say on YouTube, yeah. Yeah, we're live all over the place. So little TikTok action, little Facebook action, little TikTok action, and YouTube action. But yeah, we have the link up. So on the mend. So I think by next few weeks I should be good to go. Start doing some stuff. Yeah, I don't know why it does that on X. All right, there you go. Nice. Whereabouts in Jamaica you going? What is up, everybody? Just hanging out for a little bit. Try to do what we can here. Let me know if it's too loud. I got you on my not MySpace. Whoa, man, MySpace. Ew, the way things are going nowadays, man, that would be, that'd be something. If only we could go back to those days, for sure. Let's see. All right, Montego Bay. I was just there last summer. I want to say, yeah. If you guys want, you can jump over to YouTube. Veteran DP is the same username across the board. It's a whole lot easier to kind of capture comments there. Not sure why on X it's not giving the ability to comment. Usually it does, but yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Because it usually has like the live comment feature, so it could be a setting or something. Who knows? Actually, no, I see it on my side. Let's see. It's at the bottom, Brian. Let me see if it actually goes through. Yeah, I just hit it. So, yeah, it seems to be working. So, little trial and error there, but yeah, hanging out for a little bit. The focus this month is going to be our BDD course for active duty. So a lot of new different things that we're going to start putting out. But this is an online course, and I'll kind of just show the outline here in a second as well. But just wanted to at least kind of pop in. I haven't done a live in a few days, so I'm working on another video. So new videos up. The longer version of the videos on YouTube, the shorter ones I've posted everywhere else. So the big thing with the budget proposed cuts and all that stuff that people are losing their minds about. But yeah, so we got that going on. Let's see. I'm good. How are you, Mahendra? The Montego Bay is nice. Yes. Here is behind me our navigating VA claims course, our CMP course, which is on demand, will be coming out here soon. So that'll be a thing that we'll have a little bit. So, all right. So Brian switched over to YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has better back and forth, when it comes to comments and things like that. So just kind of how it is, I guess. Let's see what is going on. Dominic, what's going on? How are you holding, my brother? San Antonio, we'll be back. I know we met last time in Big 3 games, so We are waiting for the season to start. I want to say it starts June 14th. So for those that don't know, um, every year we're taking veterans out to the big three games. Look it up. I have it pinned on my Instagram and different things like that. You can kind of see them a little bit. I've talked about that stuff there. Let's see. Oh yeah, Brian said he looked for me on OnlyVets, but couldn't. Wasn't old enough to get in. Yeah, yeah. Times are not that rough that we're having to go to OnlyFans. But how are you guys holding up, man? How are you feeling? How are you? I know there's a lot going on right now, and people, rightfully so, are feeling, a little bit worried about things. So I'm curious to find out how you are doing with these interesting times, to say the least. Ricky, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate you on Wednesday. Um, do answer some questions, do some stuff. This course behind me is the focus, so you'll see me talking a lot about it this uh, year. Let me know, Brian, if you can hear me loud and clear. I'll have the music on for a little bit, but the biggest thing is this course. It's on demand, and I'll show it here, but I really want to focus on that because I think for our active duty folks, we have so many, and they're just literally going up a wall sometimes to get help. So it's a big thing when it comes to having something for them. So I'll show you what the course looks like just to kind of give you an idea. But if you go into the link in my bio or veteransnetwork.club, you'll be able to see this. So if you go to our website at veteransnetwork.club, plural Veterans Network, you'll see a catfish version of me apparently on there. So we're updating websites and all that fun stuff. So get in shape, they said, or get back in shape, or another shape, or get better, healthier, they said, and then having to update everything. But if you go there and click then on online classes, you will be able to see this class here. And then our live classes I do every Wednesday, you also see them there, but you can see everything we have there, and then you can view the course, kind of see what that's all about. A whole rundown, a list of it. So I'll actually just show very quickly the inside of the course so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So this is like one of my test accounts here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, there we go. So I'll run down here. Let me just catch up on some questions real quick. Oval is a shape. Yes, oval is a shape. But I think it was last year specifically with the big three. Again, the big three, it's huge. I really, really would encourage you guys to look into joining us for that this coming year. It is a great, great time as a whole. I can't speak enough about it. Again, but being able to take some of our veterans out and do different things, that really highlighted just how much moving around and all the stuff and traveling and trying to do things, it was just too much. So we had to do some moves. Plus the doctor's like, hey, stuff ain't looking too good. So, and then a whole bunch of injuries. Go figure that. So fun times. Let's see. Let me catch up here on some of these questions. Shout out to everybody. Let me know what branch of service you were in also, for folks, tuning on. And I always like to know what branch of service you were in, where and what years did you serve. Give you a shout out and kind of, check in with you. That's always nice to me to be able to kind of get a little feedback on where folks may be. So let's try to get that going. Let's see. Let me put that right there. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. And so it won't get too lost. Let's give that a little background. There you go. Boom. All right, so some questions that came in. Now let's talk about the course. Hanging out for a little bit there. Let's see. That's the one thing I can't do with TikTok. It always suppresses views when I do it on the computer. but I can't do all this stuff when I'm just on the phone. So there's a thing. And I'll also move this down so you can see it better as well. So let's bring that down some. Okay. Questions. All right. Shout out to Ricky, my brother. My claim hit step 5 after 3 months of on step 3. Check. Any exams done? How has that come for you? Let me know. Yes, links to everything I'll be talking about is in my bio. So there's that. I'm out February 8th. No appointments in sight with the BDD claim. I'm assuming Asia that you're talking about. And sometimes it could run over. So I would just kind of just monitor that. Reach out to the VA. Obviously, check the status of your stuff there. It's not uncommon for the system sometimes to go a little over. So I've seen that, and now especially with everything going on, the backlog and freezes and people freaking out, it's just a lot going on. So it's still going through the same VA processes. So I would say for sure to kind of stand by, but I would definitely welcome you to our navigating VA claims class that we do. So I mean, Ace in your CMP class. When that comes up, you go to live classes, links in my bio, and you'll be able to see the things that we do. So Ace in your CMP. I'm gonna have an on-demand one for this, but definitely want to at least highlight that for you, since you have no exams that have come up. So. See, I was asked by Optum rep if my condition is due to flare-up or it was part of the condition. Well, see, for you it's different because you're active duty, right? So you're saying, hey, I have these issues, and in turn, these things are not so much a flare-up thing, because a flare-up sometimes can just look at, hey, this is just something kind of temporary. So again, not knowing what you're speaking out specifically, I can't really give you much of an answer. Zanzibar, I love your videos. I love you loving my videos. I appreciate you. I'm really trying to make an effort to do some stuff on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to YouTube, please do so. Veteran DP, for a few reasons. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen on social media. I can't control what is going to happen with different platforms. I can't control algorithms. But with YouTube, though, what I do like, and I want to just highlight that. And again, I'm gonna clean up YouTube, and again, I have another video coming up here in a few, but our last one here specifically breaking down these proposals, and I touched on in December, the supposed 120 billion, cuts or whatnot. So I'm always looking at talking about this. And what I'll say, if you haven't seen this one, because I actually go into more detail here, let me make sure I don't have this audio on for that. I'm actually showing you, and I'll bring up a few things here, the actual source of where these supposed cuts are coming from. So that's my problem I have in the space. People like to talk a lot and fearmonger, because if I put a post up and say, you're all getting, reduced, everybody's going to share it. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this for a second. I create something to help someone and people get value out of it, but they won't share it sometimes. And not because you don't want to, but it's like a good restaurant. You go to a good restaurant, it's the best food we ever had, and you love it, and I'm going to write a good review. And then you get back to life and you forget about it. However, we go to a restaurant, they disrespect us, the food is horrible, and my son gets sick. I'm not going to sleep until I write that complaint on Yelp or complain to the company, right? So that's just the way it works, right? We're just more driven towards the negative. If there's a video that says ratings are going away, you're sharing to everybody. Like, hey, look, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? What's going on with this? But if there's a video that says, no, ratings are fine, that's actually not what's happening, there's more going on, then that's a different conversation. So that's my big issue that I have. So please, for sure, check that out there. But I'll also highlight that we touched on this as far back as 2022 when the other, CBO report came out, and that was here, veteran benefits under attack. So, been at this for quite a bit. But again, want to focus on the BDD course for the active duty folks, and make sure that you guys take a look at that. But I'm big always on highlighting where information is coming from, because my biggest issue I have is fear mongering veterans to get scared to do something with no source, no background. It's a whole, again, I just don't like that, because I get what they're doing. But again, over on YouTube, a little deeper dive when it comes to that. I'm going to do the proposed mental health changes ratings that are coming. That's a whole nother one. People are over here losing their mind for it because they think that they're changing mental health ratings. I've touched on this before. I'll do another update as well, but it's just proposed changes that haven't been officiated yet, and they keep kicking down the dates as far as when it actually should happen. So there is that. Actually, let me bring it up here too, because I have said a link. Where is it? But yeah, let me finish some questions here. Rep called. All right, so I got that one. Army's in the building, '06 to '07. Let's see, we got 2007 to 2011, 70%. Coast Guard's in the building, 2003 to 2010. Been on state step 5 since December. Is there a delay? Not a delay. It's just a backlog. The VA is kind of how it goes. So it's par for the course, I would say for sure. Just a little hurry and wait. Let's see. Rep called to get information from me prior to the head to toe exam on Thursday. I got asked this question for everybody part. Yeah, like a little pre-questionnaire type of thing. That's common. A lot of veterans are worried. Any input would be appreciated. Should we foresee being benefits stripped? How long after retirement can you expect movement? So it should be. So as far as the veteran strip, again, the video that I just put up a few days ago, and again, the YouTube one, I actually break it down and show it to you in detail, specifically for that. So these are proposals. These are not things that are official. These are proposals from the CBO. That's the biggest thing that I want to highlight. And I could actually briefly just jump over there just to kind of answer your questions for sure. But also check out the YouTube video. So this is, and I'll put this up here. This is the actual CBO, and I want to highlight something very quickly, which is the following. This is the Congressional Budget Office's proposal that they put together, as you see here, December 2024. But if you go to this one here, there's also one from December 2022 that I touched on earlier, and here you'll see similar things that they talked about way back when. For discretionary cuts and stuff like that, they had 2 of them in 2022. So for like smaller reductions, things for veterans also were listed there. And if you see here, right behind me, these were what they talked about in 2022, right? Ending temporary, unemployability, reducing benefits for those older than full age retirement, narrowing benefits for veterans with low ratings. That's 2022. Fast forward now to 2024, it's literally the same thing again. So when people are out here saying that things are going away, this is what the Congressional Budget Office does. Their job is to do this for everything. And to kind of put some of you all at ease, think about this. They have here mandatory spending options for cuts that range literally from agriculture, reducing subsidies for crop, the very first one. Housing, Fannie Mae guarantee reduction, decrease. Education, eliminating the add-on Pell Grants. For health, establishing caps on federal spending for Medicaid, limiting state taxes, reducing Medicare agreement benchmark, introducing enrollment fees for TRICARE, reducing Medicare coverage for bad debts, for Social Security, reducing benefits for high earners, establishing uniform benefits, age requirement stuff. For defense, reducing the DoD's annual budget, replacing some personnel with civilian employees, stopping building of Ford-class aircraft carriers, canceling long-range standoff missiles, Army future long-range assault cancellations, reducing the size of the bomber B-1 Bravo, retiring the F-22. Like, again, this is something that they do across the board. So when it comes to the veteran side of the house, right, which obviously we look at, this are the ones that folks are talking about. Having a means test for benefit purposes. And I cover this in the YouTube video, so I'm not going to go into too much depth here. The second one being ending TDIU for those when they hit full retirement age, having changes in there, reducing disability benefits for those old and full retirement age, and then having a narrow disability for those that are under a certain rating, 30 or below, basically, not getting paid. That's it. Again, these are proposals. The same thing, again, happened back in 2022. There's a pushback. It's a process. I understand the current administration. I understand the concerns. My issue is that folks just rattle off these things and make it into I was right, you were wrong, I was right, you were wrong thing. And that's not really how that works, right? So I just wanted to at least kind of highlight that because I think it's pertinent for that. So again, if you head on over to YouTube, I did break that down in some more detail. So tell a vet, tell a friend. I'll be doing the mental health one here in this Wednesday or Thursday. I should have that up. but specifically looking at the BDD class that I wanted to be, showcase here for active duty folks. If you know somebody who's active duty, I really want to impress upon you to take a look at the course, send it to them, give them information on it. If you look at this here, I just want to give the breakdown. It has modules and it breaks everything down. So from an intro, to lessons of information. So as far as how to navigate claims, intro to claims, gathering records, documentation, selecting conditions for filing, secondary, aggravated conditions, presumptives, tips, separation health assessments, Alpha Bravo, regulations and closeout, buddy statements, go by templates, helpful links, where to find things, a bonus section with some headache statements, GERD statements, tinnitus statements, BDD checklist, and benefits explained for mental health purposes. If you go, for example, into like one of the modules, you'll see there's actual video there too. So you'll see that, that's there recorded for you. So you'll be able to kind of see the different things that I'm kind of covering as well. So it's broken into section, which means you can go at it at your own. There's timestamps in there, resources as well. So you can kind of, go along at your own pace. But the biggest thing is that this is available to you to be able to at least have that, right? Again, go over it. That way it's not just information overload, but you can digest the information, you can go through it, especially if you're active duty or retiring. You want to make a point to do that. And then when we add the ACE or CMP on demand course, then that'll be an add-on that you can have too, right? Because there's a lot of information and I want you to be able to actually absorb it. So this is something that's, I'm really happy with where we're at. We're going to be doing some cool updates to this and add-ons to this. So I wanted to make sure that that's something that I highlight for folks. So again, get it for a vet. If you're, for someone active duty, leaving service, etc., that's a big one. The link in my bio or over at veteransnetwork.club, you'll be able to see that information there for how to navigate VA claims. Let's see, what else was I going to say? It was something else. Let me see if I can bring it up. Okay, that's where it is. Let me see if I could do it. Yeah, so the link in my bio, just so you kind of know where it's at, you'll be able to just scroll right down to how to navigate VA claims. $67. So there's that part there. I'll read for sure. Yeah, and the biggest thing is like really just get it so you have time. And the beauty of the course, the way we have it, is I'm going to be adding additional things. So so you'll get updates. So you'll have access to the course for as long as you have it. And then when we add new things, I'll probably put like a bracket in there with like new thing, whatever the case may be. If there's a change to the rating criteria or whatever, you're going to get that, right? So that's one of the biggest things I want to highlight. So it's evergreen in nature. So you have the ability to get the course, go through it. Let's say they do make some changes to propose things here and there. Now you have the ability to go back and see that update, because we'll update obviously those things. I'll add additional modules there also. So that's something that I think will be very helpful for our transitioning service members, because again, nobody's really speaking to them. And I find it to be an oxymoron to say, the system is going to take care of you, but yet they don't take care of other people. So you just end up leaving service underrated and confused, throwing everything against the wall, and you end up with the same issues we all deal with post-service. And I just don't think that's a good way to go about this, especially trying to do a crash course, right? You're leaving service, or finally pulling the plug, and you're trying to absorb all this information so quickly. And it's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and give you time to do this with time. So you don't have to, try to just do information overload, right? So that's something I wanted to at least highlight there for sure. Let's see. I literally had this link I wanted to bring up, but for the life of me, I cannot seem to find it. So, but yeah, so that's the biggest thing for that. If you have questions, for sure, pop them in. Like I said, just want to hang out for a little bit here before I got to get back to doing some more other things. Let's see. Okay. You're welcome, Beachwater. Let's see. How long after retiring? movement on the BDD claim. It's supposed to be as you exit, but I've seen folks that literally will leave service and it'll be like, a month or two sometimes after. They'll back pay you, but there's really no way of knowing sometimes just how that all kind of goes about. So just a heads up on that, there is going to be sometimes delay, especially now. So you kind of see folks waiting for exams, waiting for things to happen. So just be at the ready, because it could just happen real quickly, and then you're running all over the place to get these things done. So I want to make sure that that's there, but they'll back pay you, so that's a good thing. Let's see. Okay, let's see what other questions we had. All right, so we talked about the benefits, talked about the BDD thing. Got it. I've been so worried about been so worried, and PTSD doesn't help. But that's my problem. You know what I mean? Because it's, you know, again, I'm sorry, but it's the bullshit that, a lot of these folks like to do by fear mongering. It just becomes clickbait, right? Claims, are going away, ratings are going away. So you have already a demographic of veterans who are prone to anxiety, and in turn, you'd start to then fearmonger them on some, they're coming for your benefits, and look who's in office, and look what's happening, and this is going to go away, and that's going to go away. And it's like, okay, that's just, calling fire in a building, but how does that help? Like, what's the solution here, right? If this changes, then how do we in turn proceed? Or if there's a mental health change or update that's coming, how do we proceed, right? So these are the things that I think our folks are missing, which is hope and education and information. Let's see. Let me make sure I got the other comments. Rizzy, shout out to you for sure. Yeah, so review for sure, retire February 2026. And again, you have the ability to do this in time. So I think that goes a long way, to be ready and not have to worry about, hey, blah, blah, blah. I love the fact that my better half said I was in the Army, and I say it served in the same time frame as you. That is epic. I served in the same time frame as you. Yes, you did, my love. That's funny. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got that. Okay. Man, that's crazy. I literally had this link up, and for the life of me, it just is not something that I at all can find. So that's fun. But that's usually how it goes. Alrighty, let's see. What else you guys got going on? How are y'all doing? Any things going on? This tomorrow I'm doing navigating VA claims. That's a big one. But this right here, again, tell someone. I'll be putting stuff out on it consistently for the active duty folks. We have time. Let's make a point to tell a vet, so they can, prepare themselves for this. Tomorrow night I'm doing navigating VA claims. That'll be a live class. Q&A, questions, information, so you can feel free to pop into that. All these things are in my bio, so you have the ability to check those things out as well. Let's see. I'm eligible to apply for BDD. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, again, check that out. So the link in my bio will take you there, or at veteransnetwork.club. So you have two ways to get there. And just scroll down and you'll see it there, navigating VA claims, your BDD claim there. And in case you kind of missed it, I'll show it to you again. But this is kind of a rundown of kind of what it looks like. So slides there, a welcome message, intro to BDD claims, gathering evidence and record documentation, selecting conditions for filing, secondary aggravated conditions, presumptive conditions, tips, self-separation health assessment, Alpha and Bravo, regulations and closeout, resources, statements, links, where to find certain things. So literally you have that. This is kind of what the videos look like, so you have an idea. as I'm breaking things down and showing them. So I'm showing you like in the regulation how to pull things up, how to find those things. So it's not like just because I love when people are like, oh, go to CFR 38. I'm like, okay, how the heck do I look at this stuff? Right? Like I understand the well intention, but um, for those that may not know, so my background too. So I'm the founder of Veterans Network Champion Club. Just said that, but let's kind of get right to it. And I'm a disabled Army combat veteran, but I'm also a medically retired from law enforcement. Have a few master's degrees, so I also am an adjunct professor, and I taught at university for a little bit. Why do I say that? Because I come from teaching. I understand, having a syllabus. I understand breaking information down for someone who's new to content to information. So people sometimes have the best of intentions, but when someone is lost and they're like, "I'm leaving service. What do I do?" File for everything, go to the doctor, look up the CFR. It's like I got rear-ended. What do I do as far as this legal action now? Look up the law and look at tort law. I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? So when I look at that, to me, it's big of like, hey, let's make sure that not only are we giving a veteran, for example, helpful links and forms and where to find things, because again, it's great that I can say, here's the CFR. But how do you navigate the CFR? And again, I can show it to you right now, but by the time you go tonight, tomorrow to do this again, it's like, oh crap, where did he go? How did he do it? Where was it? So again, here you have the ability to look at all these different things, right? You could look at, hey, here's the regulations and whatever, look at the video specifically so you can kind of get spun up again on that. So, okay, where was it? That's where he was. Okay, how did he get there? Let me go back. Okay, that's where he was. So he clicked here, he went there, got it. I'm the type of person where I might have to go through something a few times, on my own just to get warm and fuzzy on it, right? So I love how people are always saying, Title 38, Title 38, but what do I do with it, right? Where's the rating criteria in it? Because the problem with the CFR, like some people just say, look at the CFR. First of all, when it comes to CFR, period, there are literally, right, and I'll show it to you right here, this covers all of government in so many different ways. So that to me is the part that's always funny of like, okay, look at that. Look at how many titles we have, 50 plus titles. So all of government is ran by these different things, so how do you actually enact these things? Right. So that's always my issue. When it comes with folks just randomly saying, look at 38, look at 35, blah, blah, all these other things. There's more to it than that. But again, the rating schedule, how do you read it? How do you pull things up? And then once you're there, how to actually understand, hey, how do you read it? How's the rating criteria, right? DBQs, where are they? So I'm big on just breaking it down so someone has an understanding of how to find a thing. So you'll have me walk through that, show you those different things. And that's all there. So you have the ability to kind of really have a step-by-step process. So when I say it's really hands-on, it really is hands-on. And I'm really happy with how this came out. So this is, again, the things that we have there. And at the bottom, you'll see statements, go-bys. Again, we're not writing it for you, but this is a go-by. We're all military, right? Go-bys. This is a template of tinnitus or headaches or GERD, a checklist. So you know kind of what to do, BDD, mental health symptoms. So I can look at that. So you have, everything there in some shape, fashion, or form available to you, so you can go ahead and be aware of what that is and how to get there, right? So that's my biggest thing there that I want to make sure that we highlight for our soon to be veterans, and not just tell them a thing. And again, that BDD checklist, you see it right here, right? So you have the ability, and again, this is on my profile too. You can get it by itself. And then again, it'll give you a breakdown of, hey, things to start doing as you're, leaving in February 2026, right? Check, do this, check, do that. We're military. We like things like that, right? Like, okay, service treatment records, medical records from hospital. Okay, get this. Okay, get that. You know what I mean? Just little things I think that go a long way for someone who is trying to drink from from the fire hose when it comes to this stuff here. So, yeah. So that's the breakdown there that I wanted to at least highlight of all the cool things we have. And then again, there'll be more things I'll be adding. If there's changes, we'll communicate them. And even in the course itself, again, this is like one of my test accounts that I have here. You have the ability to go in there, mark it complete, see your progress, add a comment, ask a question. It comes right to me as well. So me and my team will see that on the back end. Again, all that is there for you. So you have the ability to check that out. So take a look at that. Not, navigating BDD claims. That's the biggest thing I want to kind of highlight on, because again, CMPs and all that stuff is fine, but hey, how do I just get ready for February? Because before you know it, February 2026, right? Like my brother Grizzly said, right, will come before you know it. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Um, okay. Catch up on this stuff here. So Casey, you are welcome for sure. How's everybody else doing? Hope you're well. Let's see. On Instagram, sometimes the comments don't really come over, so that's the whole thing. But yeah. Okay, I think we're good there. We're good there. No, oh, Lord, Mike, you're killing me. What's going on, my brother? Said BDD. I winter was baby daddy drama. Wrong acronym. Definitely not. We're talking about benefit delivery and discharge. We're not talking about baby daddy drama. But that is funny to me. Um, so yeah, check that out for sure, and tell someone about it. But and again, I'm gonna keep kind of saying it. Head on over to YouTube, follow there. I'm gonna be adding a bunch of more stuff there for sure. This live right now is there as well. So that's one of the biggest things. But I just did the very last one that everybody's all concerned about. The proposed changes. I put some as reels elsewhere, but it's not the same exact one compared to what's actually in the actual video itself, and actually show the CBO, and I break that down in detail. So that's there for you. That's done pretty well. But trying to get more intentional with YouTube for sure. So, like it, share it, comment, do that stuff, because it helps the algorithm. And again, the big for me, I rather kind of just get veterans one by one to really get an idea of what we're doing there, because I'm not going to do the fear mongering thing. I'm not going to do the crazy titles just to get, a thing. Again, it's a question mark. Our veteran, like I have a hard time, like full disclaimer, I do not like this platform. I like it and I hate it. I like it because I think, when we clean it up, it'll be great to have a better way to reference things, right? Because for VA claims, you need to reference things. You need to be able to kind of look things up sometimes. So this is good because you can reference it. I can create playlists. So it's easier to kind of see in one place the things that we have versus in other platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you have to YouTube it because you want to be able to see it, maybe put it on TV or whatever, or desktop, laptop, etc. So I understand that it's definitely more powerful for the kind of education that we put out. But man, I'm just not. It's like I just, you watch like the last video. I don't do any of the stuff that people do on regular YouTube channels. I'm horrible with the basics of like, comment, subscribe. In the last video I did this, and click over here and do the stuff. Like I know how to do that technically, but I just want to get to the fucking point. You know what I'm saying? I just get to the point. I answer the question. I solve the thing. But it's a learning curve, right? So I'm forcing myself to spend more time on that platform, trying to get more comfortable there, and having to do thumbnails, which is a whole nother thing. I just love things like reels and shorts and TikToks because I can just record it and go and post it, versus having to then record the content, lay that whole thing out, do the whole copy for it, create a thumbnail, do a catchy one so a veteran sees it and they want to stop, make a fucking stupid face to kind of be like, I'm thinking of a change, and then a catchy title. So, again, first world problems, right? But it's worth it. I think our veterans definitely need it. So that's part of the reason of like, hey, we're trying to, do that and get out there. So feel free to support and share it with someone, for sure. Because again, the one thing I'm just never going to do is try to do some of that inflammatory negative thing. You know what I mean? You can go back again, 6 years on that channel now. You can go back to the very beginning, and I've never wavered. I've never changed. I've always said the same thing. I encourage veterans to seek options. A lot of people on these social media channels, they're big on talking about claims, but they're switching up based on who's paying them or who they're affiliated with or whatever. And I get it, man. You gotta survive and do what you gotta do. But I've always been big on veterans being able to advocate for themselves, for them to be able to pick what works for them, and for options, informed options. I've always done that. I've always talked about that. I haven't changed my tune. You can go back and see, for the very first videos when they were fucking horrible, and I was just trying to figure out what I was doing. But the message is the same, right? It has just gotten more fluid and more better over time. Um, but consistency, right? And that's the whole thing. We build everything with consistency. It'll take time, and I'm happy, with reaching a veteran at a time. I always say that. So we'll build our YouTube channel one veteran at a time. Especially with what's happening, with other social media, right? We have a good traction of veterans on TikTok. We just hit 60,000, which is crazy. Um, but again, now I'm making a point to, get out there and share some more things, right? So, 60.7 thousand. That's insane to me. But again, there we go. And again, that's just been showing up and doing things. But you'll see the last, one that I shared. That's like 110,000 views now, which is crazy. But the problem is, like, as you can see here on the left, it's my inbox. It never stops. So it's like it was just 0 and it's up to 71 now. Like it just never stops. From notifications to DMs to people sliding into the DMs. Again, it's great, but man, it is a lot, and that's just on one platform. So when we start looking at the amount of veterans that, again, that's why I kind of highlight the things that we're doing, because these are the questions that I'm getting, right? Veterans are asking these questions. Active duty folks are asking this question. So it's not like I'm just making up something to make it up. People sometimes won't comment on the video. They won't like the video. They won't share the video, but they'll slide into the DMs and they'll be like, hey, I don't want to ask in public, but real quick question for you. And I'm like, you can DM me, but it's going to take a while because I literally have 70 people in DMs waiting. So I have to sit down, and it's always a quick question that ends up being a whole dialogue back and forth for a little bit, right? So, I work through it as best I can. I'm always the one that answers, anything on my social media. So I think that to me matters, right? So I'll keep doing that as long as I can. But I'm excited for YouTube though, because they do have some new features for community that they're creating for dialogue, a Q&A thing. So I just got a message. They're rolling out a new community feature to have questions and answers and things like that. Membership area. So I may explore that on that side, because I think it's just that'd be good to actually explore too. So a lot of cool things for 25 that I think are going to be interesting for our veterans. But again, for those tuning in, navigating BDD claims is the biggest thing I want to impress upon you that we have going on. And this is the rundown of what that course looks like with different modules, videos, forms, links. We have the ACER CMP module courses that are going to come out soon. So that's going to be another separate course, and I'm excited for that. So it's a lot to kind of juggle, but today I just wanted to pop in for a little bit, try to get back into a rhythm of doing these things. I know for a fact on TikTok it just gets no traction at all. So I know for a fact, like if I do it on my phone, it gets pushed out to more people. But because I'm doing it by the computer, it restricts the views. So it's almost like a catch-22, right? I can share things and do things, but they just like that whole point and shoot type of thing. So on TikTok, where it is what it is. Let's see. Let's see. What's everybody else up to? How are y'all doing? I'm gonna hang out for 5 more minutes, then I'll start shutting it down. Have to get going. Happy Tuesday to you, my brother. Appreciate you, or sister. Dan. Okay. Try to be respectful of folks. It's funny, and one of the craziest things is we were in Texas for one of the big 3 games, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, DP," and I'm always kind of like, "Okay, first of all, I don't know who the dude is," and he's like, "Hey, I'm from online," so I'm like, "Okay, man, that's dope. Hey, how are you?" And he's talking to me, but I'm just like, "What's your name?" You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, "I've sent you messages, we've talked." I'm like, "I get that, but I don't know your name." Like, people have usernames, so it's hard sometimes to, put that together. But it is funny to me, what I mean, that we can have impact on people and stuff like that. And he's just like, "Man, you looked taller online." I'm like, "I'm usually sitting down." But that was funny to me. Going through a med board process currently. I'm in the last part, which is waiting for ratings. Any idea? No, there's no real idea I could give you. The wait, if you're waiting on the rating and everything is done, it could go fast, it can go slow. It just seems to be what is happening workload wise at the VA. So there really is no telling why it goes the way it goes. So that's one thing I just would say there for sure. But what I would impress upon you is, regardless of what may happen, if the findings are not favorable, don't just settle for it. You can always appeal, get a second opinion, make sure things are rated right. I literally talked to two veterans, and one of them was 94, rated 94%, round down to 90, got out of service over 5 years ago, and this whole time finally reached out. We did a one-on-one call, and I do one-on-one calls, so that's also, I don't really say that too much, but I have to update my schedule and add those too. But the link in my bio has all these things. Go check it out. It's cool stuff in there. Jump on our newsletter because get some good stuff there too. But he literally was at 90% and 94, rounded down to 90. And what kills me about his situation is he was rated 0 for migraines and literally met the requirements for a 50. And he'd been out of service for such a long time and just never asked. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where it's like he never knew to push back because he was scared and afraid of what he's heard, that if you push or you ask for something, you're going to get reduced. So I get it. Folks are going to be fearful when it comes to what they may have potentially have heard. So I get it. But I want to at least instill that there is a way to file. For people should have the option to speak up, to have things looked at, etc. So that's a big one for sure. I'm gonna do some more on that, but again, that's just something I just feel like it needs to be said for our folks. So there's that. Let's see. I have a video out that I'll do this coming week for the mental health changes that are coming. So again, I say that very loosely because they've been proposed since 2022. And again, that's why I always find it interesting, because these proposals go back. So like, if you can like look at this right here. So I literally touched on these proposed changes when they put the email out in 2022 February. And again, it's just one of those things where we're keeping an ear on, an eye on things. But if you just don't know, you just go off of, oh, changes are coming, they're going to reduce me, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that's one of the biggest things that I would say for sure when it comes to that. Okay, so we've talked about the online course, again, how to navigate BDD claims. We're going to be doing some updates to that, so that's going to be really cool. Real estate 25,750, it got over 20. So what are you trying to do? Because once you get to the point, let's say we have that, the VA loan for sure is a good thing. Interest rates are about a good place where I think they're good now. If you have a good credit score, for sure, I think market wise, there's so many things you can look at. So you're 25 with a 750, 20,000 in the bank. When you put 20,000 in savings, why is 20,000 in savings? Why are we investing that in some vehicles to appreciate? You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know your lifestyle, what's going on, but again, at face value, 25, leaving service, a few shekels in the bank. Start diversifying, right? Put some things into savings, depending on your risk tolerance, for sure. As you will see, I will always, again, for my team, I didn't say it. The question came, and we will answer. I will always say, study Bitcoin. I will always say that. So that's what I'll just leave it at that. But you look into, some ETFs, obviously, for sure. Even if you want to get, some exposure to Bitcoin through things like that, that's a big one there. Personally, I would say right now, with new investment strategies out there, I can tell you I have a lot of friends and people that I know who are real estate investors and flippers and all that. And there's been a gradual move of people in that world where they've moved over to a lot of these new technologies like Bitcoin and stuff. It's definitely one of those things where I spend, $100,000 for a real estate property, or do I now go into better pristine collateral where I don't have to deal with tenants, property taxes, things of that such, the headache that comes with that, and also the volatility of the market, where again, there's a lot of unknowns there. So it not negating it. I'm just saying that to me, I just think there's a lot of more pros in looking at all the options, especially depending on the person's lifestyle. So it's again a big thing to look at there. But as far as looking into it, I'll definitely for sure start, looking into things like Twitter. Twitter's good when it comes to um, uh, getting into the realness of what's happening in real time, getting into some of these subgroups, specifically with folks that are not just owning real estate, but they're doing it as a business. That's one of the biggest things there. So, yeah, I bought more when it hit 92 yesterday, again at 95. Big, after my own heart. Yes. Oh, yes. Bitcoin only. Yes. 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 That's all I got to say about that. Um, and again, just I don't talk about it too much because people get real funny when it comes to this stuff. But again, not because it's a cool shirt, but it is a cool shirt. Um, I did my master's thesis at the Marine Corps University on Bitcoin back in 2017. So, what I mean? So I look at it from a whole different perspective. But if you don't understand what the problem is with the money, what fiat is, then you're lost already when it comes to understanding that. So I've realized and I've come to understand this is my third cycle now. So, the 16, 17, 18 cycle, the 2000 cycle, the 20, bull run, the current one now underway. I've seen all the sentiments and all the things that kind of happen. And I'll just say that if you don't know what the problem is, the solution doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So it's like if I'm trying to give you a solution to something, but you don't understand the problem, you're not going to appreciate the solution. Until you're starving, you're not going to appreciate food, right? Until you're freezing, you won't appreciate fire. Until you understand that the debasement of your money is getting to a place where $20,000 today won't get you the same 10 years from now or 20 years ago, what it meant to now, the depreciating value. Why does a house appreciate so much? It's not that the house appreciates much. It's that the money is losing power. Again, the same house, you've done nothing to it and it went up by how much? No, your money went down. So the same house you bought 10 years ago, you can't buy it now because the money's bad. Fiat is bad. It's not backed by anything, right? So if you don't understand what the problem is, then solutions don't make sense. So that's why I'm big on studying and understanding that. But, it'll be an interesting ride. People slept on it at 3,000, at 30,000, at 60,000, at 90,000. They'll sleep on it at 150. They'll sleep on it at 200,000. They'll sleep on it and blah, 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 blah. So there's that. Do, 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 do. Okay. So yeah, class tomorrow night, navigating BA claims, links in my bio. Make sure to check that out for sure. I'm going to be touching on the basics of VA claims. I'll be touching on the proposed mental health changes that are out there. So actually should cue that up for later on. But the short and skinny, for those that hung out for a little bit here, there is no final action. Anybody telling you like, oh, August, something's going to happen. First of all, this date has changed from the summer of 2022 to the spring of 2023 to the summer of 2023 to the spring of 2024 to the summer of 2024. It was last June 2024. We passed that. This moved then to, as you can see, it was actually April of 2025, and now they've pushed it out to August of 2025. This is what they do. But every talking head out there wants to make it seem like, oh, new changes are coming. They proposed this back from 2022. And again, literally, what we talked about way back over here in 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. So these things are coming, but that's a short and skinny of it, just to at least kind of highlight that. But I'll do a deep dive. That'll be the next video that I'm going to put up. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Victoria, appreciate you. Okay. Sorry, so we hung out here for about a good hour, so I'll take that. A good hour. I'll take it. Let's see, when do I get my disability check? Will it go to direct deposit? When I get my disability check, it goes to direct deposit, to Strike, and then auto buy. Yeah, I like Strike. You should talk more about this cause active duty soldiers veteran are not exposed enough. And you know what the problem is? My whole team right now is probably going, sweet Jesus, don't start back up again. And of course, Brian on the team there, agreed. You know what I'm saying? Coincidence, I made the background orange. Come on now. Like, um, but um, but no, I agree. I like Strike is a good option. I like their hourly buys. I've been with Swan, so Swan, Strike, Fold. Those are good platforms for sure. Yeah, again, that's the way to do it, right? You get paid, you put something aside, and again, it's teaching folks that whole putting money away for later, right? A low time preference. I don't need something now. I can put it away for later. That's not something that we sadly have in our circles. So I definitely agree that we have to talk more about it. I just think that the problem is you start to get into the whole shilling of things, and I don't do that. I'm just Bitcoin only. Um, there's one asset again in 2016, 2017, 2018. All the ICOs came out. Bitcoin was number one. They all faded. The NFT phrase came up. All those things came around, and guess what? That faded. Bitcoin was number one. Remains number one. This go around, you have literally ETFs. You got BlackRock. You got the biggest companies in the world getting behind Bitcoin. I don't care about the next thing because the thing is, everybody wants to think about the next thing. And the thing about it is, like, there's a champion, and there's already a network effect. There is now recognition. There's brand recognition. There is sound policy money there. Satoshi created, a way. He gave it away, and then he went away. There is no person that controls the thing. It's truly decentralized. It's not like somebody who started a project that now can manipulate something like Ethereum with, a private offering of sorts for their own people. This is a whole different thing. And the fact that this will be mined and is finite up until 2140, it creates a whole different dynamic. I just spoke completely Greek to everybody else, so I'll leave with that. But it's just, it's a thing where, like, you have to break it down. And again, the same way I look at claims. It's like, okay, let's talk about basics. First of all, what is fiat? Do you understand what fiat is, right? By decree. There's nothing that backs up the US dollar. It's by decree. It's that the US can create more. The US can do that, as can other countries that have fiat currencies. So you got to think about it. If there's literally 10 Jordans out there and we all have one, we have one of 10. But something someone said the other day was interesting to me. When you have your dollar bill says one. But what you can't tell me is one of what? You have a dollar, but of how much dollars, right? You have literally a Bitcoin, for example. It's one of, there will only be 21 million, right? So that's the part of finiteness. We've never had finiteness. There will always be more gold found. There will always be more resources found. They can create more houses. They can dilute you. As they print more money, the value of money goes down. So, the value of the dollar as a whole, we've lost so much from 71 when we went off the gold standard. So the minute we went off the gold standard, that's not backed anymore. They can print more as they need more money. And in turn, now your value goes down. So again, 10 Jordans, 10 houses, 10 pieces of gold. Well, I just added 5 more into the pile. So you don't own one of 10, you own one of 15, one of 20, one of 50, one of 100, one of 1,000, one of 1,000,000, one of 1,000,000,000. That's the problem. And you're saving your money in a place where it's being diluted across the board like that. Whereas the dollar goes down, Bitcoin goes up. Why is that happening? Why did we go from 3,000 to 100,000? You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that I think it's interesting. Again, people get scared because they see 100,000. You could buy a Satoshi, right? So 100 million units of a Satoshi, it's the smallest unit. Think pennies. So you have the ability to literally have one small penny of this thing that's appreciating, that's growing, and you can get $1 worth for $5 worth, right? I'm not saying go buy $100,000 worth. People don't have that, right? But you could put $500. You could put 100. You could put 50. Yeah. Let's see. Easy money, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Let's see. What do you do if you discover the VHA altered medical records? So explain what you mean by altered medical records in your situation. Because if something material was altered in some shape, fashion, or form, that can be contested. You could bring that up, say, hey, this is inaccurate. Again, define altered, Brian, on your side. But yeah, good conversations to have. If like on my YouTube, it's funny. Like I'll consume content for one thing, and then I'll create content for another thing. But it's just hard because people get funny with money. So that's one of the things that is always kind of like, gotta be careful. Multiple versions. But okay, so specific to you, like what was changed, like materialistic, like multiple versions of what, a condition you have, because you can raise complaints for that. Okay, let's see. We're at coming in an hour, so we'll do like a quick lightning round. So if you have questions, post them, and then we're gonna shut it down. Um, that's the biggest thing. All right, but that was good though. That was good. Let's see. Kevin, you missed a whole rant. We had a whole Bitcoin rant just now. Uh, but again, the course. Get the course. That's the biggest thing. During the claim process. Yeah, so I'm gonna need more context. You're kind of so we have different VHA. So healthcare, BVA, VHA. So you're talking claims. We're talking BVA. So what specifically? You know what I'm saying? If you discover altered medical records, you can report it. That's the biggest thing for sure, right? If you're talking claims specifically, hey, what exactly was that thing that was brought up? Um, so multiple versions of what? Because again, I need a little context. Again, for those that don't know, I'll say it again. YouTube. I know the systems don't like me saying that, but jump over there, Veteran DP, adding some more cool stuff, dropping the mental health proposed changes that are coming. But the longer versions are on YouTube, which are better to view and all that stuff there. The course, navigating BDD claims, is online, $67. Get that for an active duty person. Get it for yourself. It's the way to go. And then Easy Money and I just had a whole rant of Bitcoin apparently, so that was great. Um, but yeah. Um, yeah, but if it's claim related, again, if they made a decision on it, you could do a high level review specifically. You can make a complaint as far as like something was added, like this is not mine. So if it's healthcare or if it's the claim specifically, they added more things. A few ways to look at it. Okay. Just did my mental health CMP 2 weeks ago. How much for a decision? They have about 30 days to get it back to you as far as decision. You could be waiting days. You could be waiting months, honestly. So 2 weeks ago, I'd say a little hurry up and wait. Little hurry up and wait. It's just the way it's going. So I've seen stuff go quickly in weeks and some stuff go in months, and that's just up to the VA. Depends how many things you filed, how many claims are in there, the complexity when the examiner gets the notes back to the VA, and then of course the VA's backlog and different things. So it's really hard to gauge, no matter what anybody says, because I got two veterans, one within 3 weeks, one's within 3 months. No rhyme or reason. Okay, let's see. See if Brian comes back with anything on his side. Alrighty. Okay, all right, so we got that one. Let me see over here. I don't know why the TikTok, I mean, not TikTok, the Instagram comments were acting kind of funky, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, shout out to the folks on X, which is crazy because it shows people on X are watching, but I can't see the comments apparently. So there's that part. And yeah, let's see. But all right, good people. I'm gonna cut it here. I appreciate y'all hanging out for a little bit. Check the link in bio. You will see all the things that are coming up. So I want to make sure we put that there. Homebound, I didn't apply for that. So if you're 100%, did you have 100% on one specific thing? Because you may have 100% on one thing and 60 or more on something else. So they give you homebound because it's SMCS one. So it's either you're homebound or you have 100% on one thing and then 60 or more on the other things combined. So that's probably what's happening with you. Just that's an automatic SMC. They mentioned in my decision that I served time and had exposure. Can you file for that? So you can't file for exposure. It's more so, yes, you were exposed to something, but what were you exposed to? So you have to be able to say, for example, I was exposed to Agent Orange. I can't file Agent Orange. I was exposed to toxins, but I can't file toxins. What I'm arguing is the eczema, the respiratory problem, the cancer, the this, right? So if you have a condition that you can link to the exposure, that's what you're going to file. But you can't file because you were exposed to something. No, it's just saying, hey, we understand you were exposed to something. But like a Vietnam veteran, you were exposed to Agent Orange, but they're not going to give you diabetes. They're not going to give you prostate cancer. They're not going to give you, you know what I'm saying, those ratings unless you have them, Parkinson's, etc. Presumptives, right? Gulf War, same thing. Just because you're a Gulf War, they're not going to give you IBS, respiratory conditions, asthma, GERD, things like that, chronic fatigue syndrome. So that's how I would look at it, right? So I would say take a deep dive into what you may potentially be dealing with. And if there's a link to your exposure, then that can be an argument for sure. Hope that helps, but let me know. Make sure. Okay, thanks. I have a condition that I can file for exposure. Yep. So you have a presumptive, you have the exposure, you have a diagnosis, and you're arguing then this condition based off of that presumptive, that exposure, and Terra and toxic exposure risk activity will look at that for you. So that's the argument. But you still have to speak to the symptoms, obviously, and the impairment level that you have for that. Some things are, low rating, some things are higher rating. It depends. Cancers, again, if they're active or they're remission, those things count. And then secondaries too, right? So there's so many ways to really look at that. But yeah, that's how I'd go about it for sure. Diagnosis, make sure you have a diagnosis. That's the biggest things. For everybody else out there, if you know a vet, you think about filing a claim, open and intend to file. That's the biggest thing I would say. Open and intend to file. You have a year to get it together. So try to get support. Try to look into that. That's the biggest thing I would say there for sure. Try to look into let's see. All right, so I think Brian, I think you were good on your question on your side. So okay. Okay, so Pants, you're good. Let's see, Beach, I see that. Thanks. Okay, is that your case, Beach? Specifically, you have that there. Anyone thinking about changing the math? No one's thinking about changing the math for that. The proposed changes that are out there, I'm gonna actually put that video out, so I'll put it here too. But go to YouTube, make sure you're following there for sure. But I'm not actually going to cover this. These are the proposed mental health disorder changes that, again, I talked about back in 2022. So there's no change that's in effect. There's been proposals from 2022, and they've been kicking that can down the road for a little bit. But I do cover that there, so that's one thing. And if you look at, on the TikTok side of the house, look at that video that's pinned right here, disability rating changes summer. So I will talk about in the summer as well. So take a look at that there, and I actually show the actual language for that. So I'll be, doubling down on that again too. But yeah, for that question there. But yeah, make sure you're following on YouTube. I'm trying to get to do more on YouTube there. It's easier to follow along. And again, my whole spiel there is that if this goes away, I'm not stopping. Right now, I'm live on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and YouTube. So we're always going everywhere, but I don't want our TikTok folks to lose out. So YouTube. Let's see. I appreciate everything you do in helping veterans. My hat goes off to you. I appreciate you, Beach. Appreciate you. Let's see, Steffi, thank you for sure. You're very welcome. But yeah, check on TikTok, the pin video. Check the new one for the budget thing people are talking about, and that's also on YouTube there, so you can see it there in the long format. And then this tomorrow, Thursday, I'm actually going to put out the mental health proposed changes. So I'm going to cover that because that's also a hot topic now. So we'll be addressing that. And I love when these things happen and people are talking about these things because they tag me everywhere. So I'm being sent links, I'm being tagged in videos and all these things. And it's just like, oh my goodness, this is, I guess I better talk about it. Thanks, Beach. Appreciate you. But yeah, make sure you're following, subscribing over across social of your preference because we're all over the place. Okay, I think we are good. So I appreciate y'all hanging out for a little bit. You could have been anywhere in the world watching some other folks doing some things, but you're hanging right here for a little bit. as we talked some claims, answered some questions, and talked about navigating BDD claims for our active duty folks. So, link in bio, navigating BDD claims. Make sure you check it out. Tell a vet that's there for you. And again, there is the outline of what's in the course: modules, videos, resources, go bys, templates, links. I teach it. The video's in there. You can pause it, you can go back, you can see it, you can follow along, the whole 9 yards. So, all that stuff is in there for y'all. So, check that out. Aside of that, we're going to shut it here and I'll be back.